Good evening, everyone. My name is Arthur, a 26-year-old who recently started working as a night guard at Freddy's Pizzeria. This place is known for its animatronics that entertain people during the day. The main attractions are the bear, hare, duck, and fox characters. It was my first shift from 12 a.m. to 6 a.m. I sat in my small room near the store's exit with my feet on the table, sipping coffee. The clock struck midnight, and the fan blew a cool breeze on my face. My room was equipped with a desk, a fan, a tablet stand, and a coffee pot. There were steel doors on both sides of the room, secured with thick glass windows. I glanced at my service tablet, which only allowed me to monitor the establishment's cameras. Out of boredom, I decided to check the warehouse cameras. To my surprise, all the animatronics stood still. Suddenly, a light bulb flashed, and darkness enveloped the room. Cold sweat formed on my forehead. A moment later, the light came back on, but the rabbit animatronic was missing. Thinking I was losing my mind, I punched myself in the face and checked the cameras again. The rabbit's absence was real. Calming myself down, I continued monitoring the cameras and saw the silhouette of the rabbit holding something in the dining room. I kept a close eye on it, but it remained motionless for half an hour. 1 a.m. arrived, and the lights in the dining room went out. I had no idea where the rabbit had gone. Minutes later, the lights came back on, and the dining room was empty. I checked the corridor, and the rabbit animatronic stood there, staring straight into the camera. I assumed they wouldn't move when the lights were on, so I calmed myself and switched to the warehouse camera. Now the duck was also missing. The night progressed without incident until 3 a.m. The hare still stood in the hallway but no longer looked at the camera. The duck was nowhere to be seen, but I could hear the sound of dishes in the darkened kitchen. At 5:34 a.m., everything changed. The duck emerged from the shadows, freezing near my door. I quickly locked it, staring into its artificial eyes. Unbeknownst to me, the hare approached from the left. Startled, I swore at the hare, which stood frozen with a knife in its hand. I forcefully pushed it out of the room, locked the door, and the duck disappeared. 6 a.m. finally arrived, marking the end of my first night. Little did I know, the nightmare was just beginning. On the second day, I arrived at work at 10 a.m. I tried to ask visitors and staff about the animatronic's strange behavior, but they dismissed it as a joke. Some even suggested I see a doctor. Ignoring their warnings, I patiently waited until midnight and returned to my room, where the coffee started brewing. At 12:10 a.m., with a freshly brewed cup in hand, I sat down, wondering what would happen next. I decided to check the cameras to see how our robotic friends were doing. To my horror, as soon as I looked at my tablet, the warehouse camera automatically turned on. The lilac hare, the light brown bear, and the duck wearing a Let's Eat t-shirt were nowhere to be seen. The lights flickered off again, accompanied by noise. This time, the disturbance extended to the dining room as well. The next hour passed without incident, but all the cameras displayed a black screen devoid of both sound and movement. The hallways and doors remained silent, as if holding their breath. At 1:02 a.m., panic struck me as I heard heavy footsteps and the scraping of metal coming from the left hallway. Fearfully, I listened, unsure of what awaited me. Slowly, I mustered the courage to glance at the camera feed. To my dismay, a massive bear animatronic appeared, dragging a long rebar behind it. I locked the door to the left hallway upon seeing it through the window, recalling that the animatronics wouldn't move when there was light. I tried to calm myself by pressing the switch to turn the hallway lights on and off, but to no avail. All I heard was the crunching of glass. The fear within me intensified as 2 a.m. approached. The bear began pounding on the window of my room with its mechanical paw. Although the door was locked, the absence of light outside made its glowing eyes look even more sinister. At 2:14 a.m., the bear suddenly vanished, leaving behind the bar in the hallway. I breathed a sigh of relief, but it was short-lived. Just as I thought the worst was over, another problem emerged. A duck animatronic stood in the doorway of the right side of my room, its mechanical frame preventing the door from closing. It was too heavy for me to push back, leaving me trapped. I locked the door to the left, where no one was, and focused my attention on the duck. It held a large fork in its left wing, resembling a menacing weapon. For hours, I remained seated, keeping a vigilant gaze on the duck without daring to leave my chair. As the third hour approached, the room plunged into darkness, intensifying the horror. Trembling, I huddled in my seat, waiting for the worst. But to my surprise, there was no screaming or sudden attack. Instead, the ceiling light bulb flickered on and off. When it stabilized, the duck animatronic had vanished from the room. Overwhelmed with fear, I succumbed to the terror and fell into a deep sleep. At 7:23 a.m., I was jolted awake by the day guard who arrived to take over my shift. As I stood up, I noticed large paw marks in the corridors and my room, serving as eerie reminders of the night's events. Feeling a mix of relief and unease, I stumbled into the kitchen, seeking solace in a cup of coffee. Returning to my booth, I cautiously turned on the computer. To my horror, a message had been scrawled on the wall beside my monitor. "Wait for tomorrow." Dread filled my heart as I realized the nightmarish ordeal was far from over. Uncertain of what awaited me in the following nights, I contemplated whether I could endure the escalating terror within Freddy's Pizzeria. Little did I know, the animatronics held secrets far darker than anyone could have imagined. The chilling message on the wall served as a foreboding promise of the horrors yet to come. With each passing day, I found myself drawn deeper into a sinister game, desperately searching for answers and a way to survive the animatronics' insidious intentions. As the sun set, signaling the approach of another dreadful night, I steeled my resolve, determined to uncover the truth behind Freddy's Pizzeria and the malevolent animatronics. I braced myself for the ongoing battle between light and darkness, trapped in a nightmarish labyrinth where reality and nightmares intertwined.